All right, ladies and gentlemen, COVID-19 took her down for 2 weeks in June, and she bounced back and sold 20 houses for a total of $7 million in sales in the month of July. You're about to meet this rock star, Elizabeth Austin, next on Cliff's Notes. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. I guarantee it, and I guarantee you, Travis, it is hot in here today, man. Can you go down and crank the air conditioner all the way down for us? We got somebody who's going to light this room on fire today. Many of you may know Elizabeth. She's a good friend of ours on the Nick Good's team. Hello, Nick, if you're watching out there, and thanks for letting us borrow Elizabeth today. I want to welcome you to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Super excited to have you here, and obviously my great co-host C3 is with us today, and Travis, my friend, always a pleasure to see you on Thursdays. How you doing today, sir?
Always a pleasure to see y'all as well. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing better now that I'm in the presence of greatness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't let good get in the way of great, man. That's for sure, right?
There we go.
Yeah, so I know we were excited about the start of the NBA season last week. How did that work out for you that first week?
You know what? We're at 500 right now. So the Mavs they're chugging along. They made the playoffs, so that's always good.
Wow, the season's a week, and then you make the playoffs, right? That's
I mean, it works fast.
Everything
is happening fast.
And I think, didn't hockey start with the Stanley Cup? Wasn't that how they started the season this year?
That might have been true.
Something like that. Well, the Rangers, they should have just stayed in bed. What are they, 3-7 now?
Yeah, it's looking pretty bad.
I think their pitching staff has got something besides COVID-19. It ain't good. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cliff's Notes. I want to give you this real quick opportunity to go out and get a pen full of ink and get your 8.5 by 14, not 8.5 by 11, but your 8.5 by 14 writer-downer notepad, because you're going to have writer-downers all during our show today. And Elizabeth, let's just cut right to the mustard here, okay?
Okay.
It is unbelievable when you told me that the full story about you having COVID-19, which is, we all know how serious that is, right?
Right.
That is no fun, and many people have passed away because of it. Some people, even in car wrecks that had it, passed away from COVID-19 somehow. But that's another story. You had it for 2 weeks, and then you went on to have a record month.
Yes.
20 units and $7 million in sales.
Yeah, my best month ever.
Best month. That's the best month for just about everybody I know. Okay, I don't know anybody that's had a month like that as an individual agent.
Yeah.
And so the burning question, I'm sure the people in the audience want to know, is how did you do it? Let's just get right to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So a few different ways. The unsexy way is that I have been in real estate for 5 years now, and I've been incredibly consistent with lead generation, prospecting, building my brand through social media. So it is the compound effect of 5 years in this business paying off. But from that, actually, when COVID hit, not me, but just, really hit hard here in the U.S., and we were starting to get prepared for shelter in place, I put my head down and I went back to the grind that I knew how to do and how I built my business from day one, which was getting back on the phones, cold calling, prospecting, and I did that every single day. So as soon as COVID hit and when shelter in place hit, I did not take a day off. I did not take time off. I worked overtime.
Okay, so if you're in the audience, 2 things I want you to write down, okay? Number 1 is compound effect, okay? The compound effect of prospecting consistently. Number 2 is, I want you to write the word grind down, G-R-I-N-D. Let's talk about compound first. Do you know, C3, that if you can improve your results as little as 1% a day. 1% a day. That doesn't sound like a lot, does it?
No.
What does that mean over time, though?
Well, you took the thought there, right? Run with it. So over time, if you could improve yourself 1% a day, Trelvis, for 365 days, at the end of the year, you would be 37 times better than the day you started. That's compound effect right there. Darren Hardy wrote a great book about it. We all know investing, the compound interest, and so forth. As it applies to you, you compounded those efforts of prospecting in advance, because what do we say? Everything you do today, you'll see when?
At least 90 days from
90
now.
days it shows up in your bank account,
Yep.
right? Okay, so you were prepared, you were ready to go out and start planting those seeds so that you could have a big harvest. And boy, did you have a big harvest. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right, so that's number one. I hope you wrote that down. Number two, grind. Grind is the thing that makes real estate people rich, right? What does a grind mean? What does it mean to grind?
You know, we talk about that grind and hustle, right? And what that comes down to is doing the work and doing it every single day. And it looks different for me now today than it did like day one. So that first year in real estate, I was on the phones for 6 to 8 hours a day minimum, 7 days a week. Now that's turned more into sharing evidence of success, social media, leverage like that. But I had to go back to the basics when, you know, the pandemic and the unknown hit, and do what I knew how to do in order to control my business.
So it's the stuff that nobody else wants to do. Nobody wants to get on the phone and
Yeah.
get hung up on by calling expireds and for sale by owners.
And it doesn't sound fun to sit there for however many hours every single day and then redo that day in, day out. But the reality is that's the basic building block. And that's one of the ways you can do it. But especially during the pandemic, that was such a great way because I was able to reach anyone and everyone. People were home. I never had a more, you know, maybe like audience that was ready for me to actually call them available. So I took advantage of that.
Okay, all right. So two things, right? Compound effect, grind. Now, so audience, I promise you, you're going to get value throughout this. I wanted to hit that first, but right now what I'd like to do is take you back a little bit, because on Cliff's Notes, one of the things that people always say about our show is they like the fact that the guest is not some celebrity up there. We really try to, you know, pull the curtain back and talk about you. What was that zero moment of truth when you got in the real estate business? What was it like growing up? Let's start when you were younger, okay? You grew up in Waco, Texas, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Now, what was Waco, Texas like to grow up in?
It was fine. I only have great memories of it, but I mean, a relatively small town. I always knew something was a little different with me with the way that I wanted to work. Going out there and working was more important to me than school. And going out there and figuring out how to make money, I never knew how I was going to do it. I just knew I was going to do it. So those were the things that were always on my mind. But I don't know, it was an interesting town for sure.
Tell us about your family life. Were your parents real strict on you?
No, well, I'm the baby of the family. So
okay.
They lost all strictness by the time it got to me, which was great. I got away with a lot. I learned how to manipulate in the best possible way from a young age, which probably leads me pretty well in sales. I do mean that in a good way, though.
Okay, Jordan Belfort, I know what
right.
you mean.
Exactly. Use your powers for good. Use your powers for good.
Right.
But yeah, close, supportive family. We moved around a lot. That probably also plays a part of me having to figure out how to have that rapport and, you know, make friends, connect with people, communicate. And so we moved from different city to city for my parents' jobs.
Did your parents drug you?
No.
My parents drugged me.
Drug you?
Yeah. Every Sunday they drugged me to church.
Yeah.
Every Sunday. Yeah. Did you go to church as a kid?
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay. All
yeah.
right. Well, you know, that's where a lot of people develop their values, right? I mean, and you know, you're integrous. Your clients love you. You do a great job for them. So, you know, at some point you pick that up. So tell us, I know you moved around a little bit. You lived in
Columbia, Missouri.
Columbia, Missouri. That's not too far from St. Louis, is it?
Correct. About 2 hours outside.
A couple hours, yeah. And then you went to a real exclusive college.
I went to a private all-women's college, Stevens College, for a degree in fashion marketing and management, which I used for 9 whole months.
Right.
Before making the move back down to Texas with no strings attached. Like, my apartment lease was up there. I had some family down here. saw an ad for real estate company and came down here and lived with family for a little bit.
Okay,
and then
so
just went straight to real estate school.
Was that your zero moment of truth where you said real estate is my calling? That's for me?
No, actually, so I always had interest in it because we moved so much. And then outside of those moves, there were internal moves from home to home. So I easily moved 14 times. So I was a part of the process and enjoyed it. But my moment was, I come down here, I figure out to go to real estate school, I start the classes, and I have kind of that moment of like, oh man, I am now a year graduated outside of college. A lot of my peers are starting to get their first raise, and I'm back in school, and I panicked. And so I was like, I've got to look for jobs because I've got to make money, and I do prefer working over school. So I started applying and getting interviews at Neiman Marcus corporate in downtown, which is very elite and prestigious for the fashion world. And I kept getting the interview and then kept not getting the job. And they would say, we love you. Can we throw your like hat back in the ring? And I was like, yeah, please do. So 4 interviews happened and I kept not getting the job. And on the 5th one, they finally offered it to me. And I was so not excited to take it. Like 9 to 6 sounded awful, even though I easily work so much more than that now. That as soon as it was offered, I said, I can't do this. I enjoyed the holidays, started real estate school back up, got my license in 3 weeks and never looked back.
Okay, all right. So that first year with your license, how did that go for you?
Not like I anticipated. So I'm 24 years old. I don't know what this process looks like. I interviewed one brokerage, joined them, and I just thought business would come to me. And I remember someone sitting me down like, how are you going to lead generate? And I was like, what does that word mean? What does this mean? And then I finally said, can you give me an example of what you still are talking about? And someone said open houses. I was like, yes, that sounds great. I feel like I'm personable. I'll connect with you face to face. And then I need you to know that still to this day, I've never converted a sale from an open house whatsoever. And I absolutely hate them. Which is cool because obviously there's no one right way to be successful in this business because that works for many people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So for the first like 4 or 5 months, I didn't do a lot. I was like the least queen of the office. I had an experience on another team that just wasn't the right fit for me. I left that pretty quickly. And I thought about leaving the brokerage and thinking it was a brokerage issue. And I started interviewing elsewhere. And really what happened is I sat down and on a mastermind was Nick Good, whose team I'm on today, his brother, a few other top players
Austin,
here in the area.
Right.
And the consistent thing I heard was, when we were brand new, we would lead generate for 4 hours a day. And it just hit me, like everyone at the table said something like that. And I was like, you already know you're not doing what you need to do. So I got in there, I started prospecting. Very quickly, I saw an ad from Austin Good, Nick's brother, looking for an inside sales agent. And I was like, this is great. I'll come to your team for half the day, start figuring out how to talk on the phones, how to talk to clients. Then I'll go work on my business the other half of the day. He ended up asking me to join the team, which I was hesitant about based off my prior experience, but I did it. Day one, it was the right fit. I got started. There was absolutely no training. I just knew. I got sat down in front of a computer. There's leads in this system. You need to call these people, connect with them, convince them to meet with you, convince them to hire you to help them find a home. And I started as a buyer's agent. And within 6 weeks, I had my first closing.
Yeah, within 6 weeks.
Wow.
Within 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, but before then, you were kind of down a little bit on the business,
for
right?
sure. For like 4 to 5 months.
Did you consider getting out of the business?
No, I did not consider leaving real estate. I just considered going to a brokerage that ran team style or someone who was going to feed me business.
WD.
Rider downer.
Rider downer. Okay. If you're in despair, fret not, right? Listen to what Elizabeth did. You've got to bloom where you're planted, but sometimes there's no soil where you're planted. Okay. So you got to go plant yourself somewhere else. What is it that changed? Now, I know you said you went to this mastermind. What really changed? Was it your attitude about prospecting? Was it having leads available?
It was the perspective of, even if these other people hand you the business, though, if you're not going to do anything with it, you're going to have the same result. And I had the guilt of like knowing that I wasn't prospecting every day. Like I knew, finally someone taught me what that meant. And I knew that I needed to do it. And I was still working on my listing presentation, working on social media. I had nothing to say then. And it was just that perspective of you have to do the work.
Okay, all right. So a couple more writer-downers here. Let's talk about prospecting versus marketing. They're two, in our business,
Yes.
they're completely different things. What's the difference in your definition of prospecting versus marketing?
It's a little bit, I consider prospecting a little bit more proactive in my opinion. So that is the actions I'm taking to actually get in front of people that I've never spoken to with before, whereas marketing, I am creating, brand awareness possibly through through running ads. It doesn't always have to be paid for though, of course. And that's a little bit more attraction based in my opinion. And I was able to, you can start with marketing, but I always like to do a combo of them. And prospecting is how I really built the business. And now I would say I'm a lot more marketing enhanced.
Yeah, I think a wise man that you and I both worked at that franchise once said, you want to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced.
That may be where that script comes out of my mouth.
Yeah, could be. Okay, but the bottom line is, almost everything that you do, every dollar that winds up in your bank account started with a phone call or with a face-to-face meeting, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Every single one started with a phone call for me.
So social media will get you so far. It'll help you get people to know you, right, a little bit, but it doesn't necessarily make the phone ring.
Not initially, it doesn't, in my opinion. I think
Okay.
you can get it there, and that's where I have converted my business to now. But it did take, 3 to 4 years of consistency of me being that proactive before the phone started to ring.
Okay, all right. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. I want to talk more about this month that you had, because still a lot of people are in the audience are just, they're still on the floor, right? They fell out of their chair because they can't believe you closed 20 deals and $7 million. Well, I'm going to give you more reason to fall on the floor now. Elizabeth, how much help did you have getting those 20 units closed?
I am on a real estate team, but all of that was through myself.
Okay, so you really had no buyer agent.
No,
Now,
I have no buyer's agent, no showing agent. I have a virtual assistant that I just hired in the middle of that. So I don't want to give her too much credit yet because I was so busy, I was so awful to even train her that she would kind of scan my email for me and remind me of tasks to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She's amazing now, but I haven't had the time to help her now.
Okay. So for an individual agent out there, 20 transactions would be a great year. Okay. What kind of advice do you have for an agent who's been in the business for maybe a year or so like you were and is struggling? Maybe they've done 3 or 4 transactions, but they can't get off the ground. What specific steps do they need to take today to turn that around?
I think the number one thing is you have to commit to the prospecting, and you've got to do it every single day. And when you're that new, it can't be 1 to 2 hours a day. So I like to reverse engineer my goal, and I've done that every year since I was brand new. How much money do I want to make? How many deals does that equate to? How many appointments do I need to set or run every single week? What's my average conversion rate? And you can figure out your numbers pretty quickly. So I'm pretty good with numbers, and I like that because it makes it tangible for me to know what I need to do every day. Because if the law of averages is for every 40 contacts you make, you're going to set 1 appointment, that's great, but is that 1 appointment going to get me to my goal? And also, if my goal is 2 appointments a day, would I stop at making 80 contacts, or am I just going to make as many calls as I need to make until I've set the 2 appointments? And I think a lot of people will just go through the actions for quite some time and then be like, okay, well, I'll just try again tomorrow, rather than being relentless of I'm not going to get off these phones, or I'm not going to stop knocking doors until I get my appointments that I need for the day.
All right, let's get some more WDs for the audience here, okay? I want to break it down, unpack it even more specifically. Lead sources. Tell us about lead sources.
Sure, that's evolved with time. So do you want it for the 20 deals, or do you want it for...
This is for the agent out there who's struggling, needs to get off the ground.
So, for the agent struggling, I think some of the easiest things to do are expireds and for sale by owners. The reason I say that is they're easy to find, data's cheap to acquire. Now it's aggressive, and you need to know you're going up against some of the most aggressive agents out there. But once you start to learn who your competition is, you also learn how to work with that on appointments and how to get into the door. But those are some of the easiest. Open houses. If you don't have a listing, a lot of agents have listings that they want to be held open, and then you've got buyer opportunity. And people also mistake that and don't look at the open houses as a listing opportunity. Go door knock that neighborhood. Typically within one home selling, like 3 to 5 more will go up in the next 6 months.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the low-hanging fruit. FSBOs and expireds are a never-ending supply of really free leads.
Yeah.
Okay. And same with open houses.
Door knocking,
So if you don't
too.
have any money, if you look at me and say, well, Cliff, I don't have any money to go get Boomtown or go buy leads, you don't have to. It doesn't require anything.
Right.
Now, so the other thing that you mentioned is it's not the easiest thing to learn how to convert those leads, right?
Right.
Okay, so I'm in the business a year. Every expired I've called so far has hung up on me or cussed me out. How do I get past that?
So a very easy thing is you could actually be the one to go door knock the expired, because almost no one's doing that. So if you want to get directly to them, you can do that. And typically I've seen that stand out to them as pretty impressive. But some of the main things are with your initial script when you're talking to them. Most of us are trained, hi, I saw your home came off the market. When are you ready to hire the right agent of doing the job to get it sold for you? Like, and that's such an awful script. And then they're hearing that. So don't waste time with pleasantries. Time is of the essence there. Don't say, hi, how are you? You don't know each other, so it feels so disingenuous. No one cares. And then, by the way, you're setting yourself up for failure if they're like, I'm having the worst day. How do you come back from that? You know, like you're really setting yourself up there. So be a little bit different. I like to be a pattern interrupter when I call them. So sometimes I may say, have you given up on trying to sell your home forever?
Okay, hold on.
Pattern interruption.
Should we take a poll here?
Yeah.
Do you guys want to see a quick role play?
Oh,
Should we put her on the spot? Okay. Ring ring. Hello.
oh, are you calling me?
No, you're calling me.
Okay.
I'm the expired.
Hi, is this Cliff?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Cliff, this is Elizabeth with the Good Home Team. I've just got a quick question for you. Are you still accepting offers on your home at 123 Main Street?
Possibly.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Awesome. Would you have accepted an offer on your home on the last day that came off the market if you had received one?
Well, of course, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask, why do you think your home didn't sell the last time you were on?
Well, my agent, I call him Mr. Excuse Agent,
Sure.
was telling me that it was because of COVID and houses weren't selling, and we really should have taken it off the market and waited for COVID to end.
Listen, real estate
So-
agents are the worst. I am one, and I hate them. I feel your pain there, but let me tell you, we sold 33 homes while we were in shelter in place with an average of 101% of our asking price. So if that was something that I was able to get for you, would you have interest in meeting with me?
Does that come with a winning Texas lottery ticket too? I mean, that sounds too good to be true.
Well, the good news is I can't do anything about the lottery, but I can definitely help you with your home. So if you give me that opportunity, I would love 15 to 20 minutes of your time this Friday at 1.
You know, I that sounds nice. I'm going to be interviewing agents, you know, probably in the next week or so, and
Okay.
I've got to get my wife to help me with the decision.
Sure, absolutely.
So-
First of all, I want both decision makers on board, so I definitely want her there. So is she available Friday at 1?
I think she's getting her hair done
Okay.
Friday at 1.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What about Saturday at 3?
Could be. I'll be out cutting the grass. You don't mind? I'm going to be a little stinky. Is that all right?
I don't mind at all, and the
Okay.
home does not have to be show ready for me. So why don't I tentatively put you down Saturday at 3? Why don't I follow back up with you on Friday, and that gives you time now to speak with your wife in between now and then.
Yeah. Well, that sounds interesting. Hey, by the way, you know, one of the agents we talked to said they do the whole deal for 4%. Are you able to do that?
Awesome. You know, commission's one of the first things we'll talk about when I come out to your home Saturday at 3, and we'll talk about that then.
Okay, great. What about this? I have an agent who lives in the neighborhood that said they could sell my house for like $350,000. You think you can do that?
Fantastic. You know, I'm about to take a look into your neighborhood and your home. Is that the sales price that you're wanting?
Well, you know, we had it listed at $350 and nothing happened.
Okay.
But I think if we had the right agent, they could probably do it.
It's very possibly so. We'll look at everything from strategy to the market comparables when I come out to your home Saturday at 3.
Okay.
Do you have a certain amount of money that you're looking to net from the sale?
As much as we can.
Okay. Is there a minimum that you won't accept?
A
Or that where it
minimum
stops to make
price?
sense? A minimum net?
Or net. You know, I'd have to sharpen my pencil and do the math on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's no problem. Everything, once again, we can go over that. Do you still have a mortgage on the home?
Still have a mortgage, yeah.
What's the payoff?
Yeah, 165.
Fantastic. Always just making sure we're in an equitable position to sell.
Right, yeah. Now, I do have a tax lien on it, though, that I need to take care of. and,
Okay.
yeah.
How much is that tax lien?
200,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. We
Yeah.
can have a conversation about that when I come out there Saturday at 3.
Okay, and yeah, and then, you know, it's actually kind of a sad thing. My wife and I are getting divorced.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just not quite sure how that's going to impact things either.
Okay. Once again, you will not be the first couple that we've helped going through a divorce or someone who's got a lien on their home. Our team's been in business for about 15 years now. At this point, we've sold over 1,700 homes, and we've seen all cases. So I will be prepared to go over all of these situations.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you have concerns with that you want me to be prepared with?
It's really crazy, but we all had COVID.
Me too. I've got the antibodies. We're good.
Well, do you think that's going to stop anybody from wanting to see our house? Do you have to tell people
Are you
about
recovered?
that? Alcoholic. I don't know about COVID. I haven't had my test yet.
Okay, so that's definitely something we'll want to do because we're going to want to make sure everyone stays safe, not only you, but the people who want to enter your home. So we'll want to make sure that everyone's got a negative test. But once that happens, no, that's not something that we actually have to disclose at this point as long as everyone is currently healthy.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you just send me something in the mail?
I can absolutely send you something in the mail, but it's not going to be as beneficial as us getting together Saturday at 3. This is a no obligation consultation, but it sounds to me like you want to sell. You have a certain sales price, you've got a lien against the property, and we're divorcing, so we're probably not wanting to stay in this home together. Am I right?
I think that's a pretty reasonable assumption, yeah.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like we still want to get you guys sold and into your own homes, and that's something I can help with. So if that's still the goal, I think it would actually make most sense for us to get together in person.
Okay, all right.
Fantastic. Okay, well, I'll still send you that information in the mail. I'll follow up with you on Friday as promised, and then I'll see you Saturday at 3.
Okay. And so you think you can do it for 4%, right?
Like I said, commission's always negotiable. That'll be the first thing we talk about when I come out to your home.
Okay.
I'm not handling objections over the phone, Cliff.
I'm trying, guys.
Sharp as
Ooh,
a
There's
tack.
nothing
no,
I can
I'm
do
so
here.
rusty. Oh my goodness, because my business is so repeat and referral at this point. Put me on the spot.
No, that's not. Well, okay, that is true. But check this out, guys. When you had COVID, you did 5 listing appointments, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, the first day.
Oh, that's 5. 4, 5. I can't
five.
count. Sorry, Charles.
The first day
Help
I
me
was
out, man. Will you-
homesick, I ran 5 phone listing appointments. Yeah. Obviously,
5
I'm lucky
phone-
with how COVID hit me. So it wasn't maybe as aggressive as it could be for others, but I still managed to run listing appointments via the phone, via Zoom. That is the moment that I had a little bit of help from the team as far as helping me do final walkthroughs or showings. Nick Good was a great showing agent. Seriously, I'm trying to hire him full time.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was able to still keep the momentum going with my business. I eventually let my foot off the gas because I wasn't sure if I kept generating business, how I was going to service it when I could not leave my home.
Right.
And obviously, without having the leverage of a showing agent or a buyer's agent, my team's very helpful, but they have their own business too. So that became a little bit tricky, but
Interesting.
still going.
So, tell us about brokerages. You've worked for a couple of different brokerages now.
Yep.
And I glean, from what I can tell, that you're pretty happy where you are now.
I'm so happy where I'm at.
So tell us number one, what prompted you to look elsewhere, and what did you find over here? Tell us about your
That's a good question.
your current brokerage.
And it's interesting because it's an evolution of everything since being over here versus when I first came. But am I allowed to say brokerage names?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so my last brokerage was Keller Williams, and that's where I was for my entire career until making the move last July over to EXP. What a lot of people don't know is we actually made the move in December. I guess we got scared. That's a whole other story. Went back to Keller Williams for a lot of false promises that were made and not held up. And then we came back over here, and my only regret was not coming sooner. So we had a lot of people that we saw, a lot of top players at Keller Williams starting to make the move, and it just made us question, like, these are great business owners, these are top producers, what are they seeing that we're not seeing? And that started having us, like, reach out to these people, questioning more, going to lunch and learns, whatever it was, to start learning about the opportunity here at EXP. For me, the big driving force was I noticed a lot at Keller Williams, there were a lot of distractions, a lot of things they get you to do to focus on anything else other than sales or wealth building. And it's a lot of things that fed my love language of words of affirmation. So I could leave the day feeling warm and fuzzy and like I just killed it, but maybe I didn't do anything to actually move the needle forward in my business. And that may be something that a lot of people resonate with at Keller Williams that you don't at other brokerages, but that's very specific to them. And I wanted more opportunity. So did Nick, so did the team. And he wanted more opportunity for the people in his organization. And it was just such a politics game to get there that even when we were willing to pay to play, we could not get through and have some of the opportunity for larger investments or other opportunity outside of taking on a salaried job, which none of us want. That we're not in the business of wanting that. So it was taking the opportunity back into our own hands and looking at opportunities outside of just having to continue to sell every month and stay on that real estate agent hamster wheel that we also get on so easily.
Okay. So broader opportunities such as what?
Well, I actually think first and foremost, it was who we aligned with. That was really crucial. It was people who had what we wanted, people who were truly in the business, who had the type of business wealth that we wanted. That was number one, because there's a mindset and actions and behaviors that come along with that. Even from trainings, even if it is to get your sales up, at this point now I was in alignment and being trained by people who had truly done that with sales versus people who are regurgitating what's taught to them from someone at the corporate office. And that was really huge. But then, through revenue share, through the stocks, that was amazing. And then making this extra income, I'll tell you, when COVID hit, for Nick specifically, his residual income from that paid the office bill every month that we weren't going to. Mm-hmm. And that was great. And that's only after a year of being here.
Well, that does change the game for sure. We're not here giving stock advice or anything like that, but if you can look up the stock if you want to see what it's trading at. But I think the valuation is up now to $1.7 billion. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
But a lot of that has been driven by Verbella, which is our company that built. I think someone well known called it Donkey Kong technology. And if he was short a whole lot of shares, he's really in pain now because there's been a short squeeze going on they got it in the shorts, right?
Literally.
But that company has been, the revenues are up 260%. The attraction of being able to have an entire office campus, and we support roughly 1,000 employees at eXp Corporate, and then our 31,000 agents work out of the world as well. We have a saying around the water cooler in the world that we were built for this, and that's exactly the case. It's a perfect storm for eXp, and that's, I think, one reason why we've had the explosive growth, fastest growing real estate. We just announced today, by the way, we're going into 5 new countries, right?
Portugal,
and one
France,
of them I had
Mexico.
No idea. So
India.
Portugal, France, Mexico,
India.
South Africa, and India, for gosh sakes. Wow. Talk about a big country. These are not small. These are not small counties, right? Yeah, this is really exciting. So hats off. Thank you, Glenn Sanford. Again, every day I get out of bed, take a knee, and then pinch myself and make sure I'm still here on Earth because we are having more fun. And that's the message that I kind of want to communicate here is that it's fun. Are you having fun now in real estate again?
Yeah. I'm having so much fun with it. The people are great. The business is great. Absolutely.
Well, that's great. Did you have anything, C3, that you wanted to? We've known you, Elizabeth, for a little while here, and we're just so excited to have you on the show and be in business with you and Nick, and it's such a pleasure. You guys, you're truly. I never in my really wildest dreams thought I would meet somebody who did 20 units and $7 million in sales by themselves, but you've proved me wrong here, so I'm very excited. Did you have anything you wanted to ask Elizabeth? Maybe. I want to know what your plans are for the next big thing you're going to rock here. What are you going to do in the next couple of years? What are your plans?
That's such a good question. I've got some stuff in the works that we can't talk about yet. That'll be outside of sales. Very honestly, I kind of made a joke of, well, now how do I figure out how to do this every single month? And then I realized I don't want to do 20 deals every single month. So it's continuing to actually look into wealth building and growing residual streams of income. Now, I don't intend to go anywhere with my sales because that's my bread and butter, and it's going to help feed me so that I have those other opportunities. Mm-hmm. Right now, going to be finishing out the rest of this year. What's funny is 2020, I know, has thrown a wrench in a lot of people's plans, but it's about to be the best year of my career ever. So I'm pretty grateful for 2020 in a lot of capacities. But definitely getting a lot more into real estate investment. I'm working on getting very liquid now and just keeping an eye on opportunity and talking to a lot more people too about the opportunity at eXp, which has been great, and so many people are excited, and I think they saw what an awesome platform this is, especially when going into COVID and shelter in place, and we didn't miss a beat.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And I think what you're saying is good advice to everybody. We're all gathering nuts for the winter here.
Yeah.
Now's a good time to, if you build that cash reserve. If I were to ask anybody, are we closer to a top or a bottom in the real estate market, or even look at the stock market, are we closer to a top or a bottom? I think most reasonable people would say we're closer to a top, right? So, the likelihood of things going up from here is probably not as high as they are from, going the other way.
Right.
And we have an election coming up. We can't sustain an economy, where we're just printing money and throwing it into the economy, and interest rates are close to zero. I mean, West Texas Intermediate traded for $- at one point. So things are, I think, a little deeper. The hurt's going to be a little deeper once the what is that stuff they put on like a mosquito bite to keep it from itching?
Calamine lotion.
Something like that. Once that wears off the economy, right, then we're going to start to really feel
People
the hurt.
really need to lean into this right now and run with that momentum. That's something.
Right.
If you want a tip for what I think was the best part of hitting to 20 deals, was that exact thought process, because my initial natural response was, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I need a break. I need a day off. And then I kind of didn't even have that opportunity. Clients would call and I'm like, I got to go show homes. I got to go on this appointment. And I finally stopped trying to take a break, lean into this. And a natural pattern of mine is I run hard and I burn out hard. And I did not do that this year because I really leaned into it rather than fight my natural response. And I leaned in, figured out how to manage it. And I want to do that right now while business is good, especially because it's not always going to be as easy to find the business or to convert the business, and you've got to be ready for that too. But I think a lot of people get overwhelmed, especially it's busy season, it's summer,
right,
and you just need to run with it because you can't guarantee where it's going to be.
And it's going to take a whole new skill set when it turns into a buyer's market. If
Yep,
you've been
you're gonna
living
have to
off
pivot.
buyers, and I mean, eventually you're going to have to learn how to deal with the other part of the business that you haven't been working with.
And then how to manage sellers over a longer sales cycle too.
Oh,
Like
gosh.
you're just going to need to figure out how
Now
to pivot.
we're talking expireds. We're going to see a lot more expireds and so forth. So, wow.
I did have one thing, though.
Okay, proceed.
I want to know,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, what gets you up and out of bed every morning? What's your why? Why are you in?
Oh, great question.
What drives you?
That's such a good question. In the past, very honestly, it would have been money. Now it's a little blurry in the sense of like, I just know I want to make an impact. I know I want to do better. I know that I want to have financial freedom. To me, that is not just to have all this money to blow, but it is truly for the freedom that comes along with that. I want to be able to take care of family and friends. And then I want to build wealth because there is a security that comes with that. So I would say making an impact too, like that's the part that, as much as I don't want to necessarily be in sales forever, that part is going to be hard to leave, because not only is it fun and the adrenaline of doing the deal, but you also really start to get into people's lives. And so when you see them be put in a bad position because maybe it wasn't the best transaction or they didn't have the right advice, that part really does get you up and motivate you. And when you hear their stories, that part, I mean, you just really want to help serve them with their real estate needs. Plus, I have a passion for wanting to help people build wealth with this, both agents and consumers and myself. So I actually really feel like I turned my transactional real estate business into that of a wealth advisor, where I'm starting to help people evaluate how to buy their home, turn their last one into a rental property, or evaluate their current rental properties, see what's cash flowing, what should we sell and then go buy more with, what should we refi, what can we raise rents on, all of these different things to really look at, like cash on cash return. That stuff really gets me going and drives me. And with agents, it's helping them truly get over the ego of this business, which I've absolutely suffered from, to run a truly profitable business, because that smoke and mirror show drives me crazy. So it's a few of those different things.
Well, and that's the person Elizabeth is. You need to ask yourself in the audience, who am I? What is it that gets me out of bed? And that's why you're a great fit for being in our group, in our company right now, because we're collaborative. We all want to help each other.
Yes.
This is a company of givers. It really is.
It's the
more
most
so than
transparent
anything.
company I've been at, and the one I was at previously was known for that and was always to an extent. Here, people really are so transparent, and it's such a breath of fresh air
Yeah.
when you're trying to build your business.
Elizabeth, if someone in our audience wanted to reach out to you just to get to know you or say hi, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Social media is great. So on Instagram, it's at The Elizabeth Austin. On Facebook, it's just Elizabeth Austin. And you can hit me on my cell, 214-205-7866.
Okay, well, that's pretty bold, putting her cell phone number out.
Listen, it's already out there publicly. I'm not trying to hide that
Yeah,
info when I'm a real estate agent.
Right. Yeah, good point. Good point. Wow, what an incredible show. And we're, unfortunately, I told you this was going to go fast,
Wow.
right? As you know. But we're actually a little bit
Yeah, we
over now,
started
so
early.
we did start early. But it's great to have you.
Thank you guys so much.
I really would love for you to come back shortly, sooner rather than later, and we'll catch back up with you and see how the year's winding up for you, if that's
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
Yeah, that would be terrific. Well, we are so glad to be in business with you and Nick, and again, thanks for being here today. Trelvis, are you there?
I am.
I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Who's going to win the Stanley Cup?
The Dallas Stars. That's
Dallas Stars.
That's
All right.
my
You heard
answer
it first.
for everything.
You heard it right here on Cliff's Notes,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right. Audience, you guys are wonderful. I hope you filled up that notepad today. We'll see you next week. We got some very special guests in the pipeline for you. You guys go out, make a lot of money, make it fun. Get out, play some golf, play some tennis, or whatever makes you happy. We'll see you next week right here on Cliff's Notes. All right, folks, tune in to Cliff's Notes every Thursday at 1 o'clock Central for the tips, tricks, and tactics to explode your business. I guarantee